Hello, and welcome to the Healing Dreams Project, exploring projective dream work for your health and wholeness, with hosts Billy Ortiz and Dr. Roy Spitz. I am the producer, and today we have a dream from our Dreamer Hotline. Welcome, Brenda. Hello, Brenda.
Hello. Oh, I'm so glad that you could help me with this.
And we are
It's such a mystery.
Okay, great. We are excited to first of all, that you contacted us, I believe, through Facebook messaging,
Mhm.
which is one way of contacting us, also through the Dreamer Hotline and or Instagram, wherever, however, we want to hear your dreams. So we are so excited that you called it in. And shall I share the image that you also provided us? Should I share the image now or later? How did you want to do that?
I think share it now. It's like a very short dream, so
Okay.
the
And
image comes into play right away.
Okay. And then those of you who are just listening to the podcast, we encourage you to check it out via YouTube, where you will be seeing Brenda's image. She is an artist, a beautiful artist, and she specializes in dream images as well. So when you're ready, Brenda, share us your dream.
Okay. Well, this is a recent dream, probably a couple weeks ago, and it was after I went to the dream retreat in Boulder that Billy does. So anyway, I don't usually remember my dreams, but this one was right before I woke up, and it's a complete dream, but very short. And I haven't named it. In the dream, a dark-haired woman tells me that I've been chosen for a task. She says, "You're very smart, and you're the only one for this task." And it seems like I'm sitting, and she's above me. She has in her hands a heavy-looking outdoor ornament inlaid with gold. It has a relief sculpture on it of a cactus and sun. Her hands seem to be giving me this, so she's reaching out with this after she mentions the task, and I'm all ready to receive it. But it goes to the woman next to me. And this woman is unknown to me in waking life and doesn't even have a clear face in the dream. I'm okay with that. In fact, I kind of feel a little relieved that it's going to the other woman. I don't know why. I felt a little resistant receiving the gift that she's giving me. A little uncomfortable. And I turn to the woman and say, "Congratulations. If it were my gift, I'd make a special place for it in my garden and dedicate it to Tucson." And then the woman is gone, and the woman next to me too. And in front of me is the task. It's a bunch of branches, fir branches, and it's mostly branch, not a lot of green on it, not a lot of needles. Each branch seems to have two areas where the needles are growing, but then mostly just a long cord. And I'm looking for the roots, and I can't find the roots. And finally I get them all laid out, and they look sort of like the image that's in front of you there. And my first first impulse is to cut them and place each one in water and get roots to grow and then plant them. And that's when I wake up. And then upon waking, I thought, well, that's what ego wants me to do. They're living the way they are, so they're perfect the way they are. So why did I feel the need to cut them apart? And so And I don't know where to go with this. It's a puzzle, but I thought it was really an important symbol because it feels like I'm the only one here to do this thing, which made me think that this is related to my purpose, my soul's purpose, you know. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, to all the thousands of new listeners that have joined our podcast today, I feel a happy need to simply remind everybody that as we listen to this dream, we're using the projective process. So even as I'm listening to the dream, I'm also taking in how I respond to this dream that I just had in the early morning of about a week ago. And so I just wanted to lift that up so that we can all be reminded of how this process is going to unfold, because we will be literally stepping into this dream in a way that it is our dream of which we are speaking, and not analyzing you,
Mm.
sharing our own heart and soul about perhaps our own purpose to which we are being called.
mm.
I like how the projective method even shows up in the dream language. I say, if it were my gift,
Mhm.
I would make a special place for it in the garden
Mhm.
and dedicate it to Tucson. And it's a side effect. I know Brenda and I, for those who don't know, Brenda and I've worked dreams together for 20 plus years. So, and it's a occupational hazard in a way that happens where it just becomes where I'm not able to directly say something to like, you should need to buy a new car, or you need to
Right.
get a new job, that kind of
Right.
thing. If it were my car, if it were my job. So if it were my gift, that's so funny. It's
Yeah, I'm well trained, Billy. And I have to thank you because it's helped me in every area of my life. It's a good practice
it
to
is.
use that kind of language in anything you do, because it is a projection. Everything we experience is coming through our own filters. And so
Mhm.
it's a lot easier to accept on the other end if you say, this is what I would do, you know.
Mhm.
That's right. Very much so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just another thing, just to get us started here on the dreams, the essence of the dream, it reminds me very much of a series of dreams that I had many years ago, where I was always receiving a gift, but I would return it to the person that handed it to me. And like, for instance, there, like, it would start out there. One of the dreams in this series was I'm in a city setting, and I have to go to like a parking lot where you have to pay by the hour. And the man at the stall, he says, parking's free today. It's don't worry about it. It's okay. And I start handing him all this money, and then I drive away. And then it's like, I'm thinking, why did I do that? And then there's another part of that series that I remember. Some woman, I don't know who she is, she hands me this like antique um journal from like the 1920s or something, and it was
Mhm.
just beautifully wrapped in this silver wrapping paper and glittery bows. And I open it up, and then I say, wow, this is beautiful, and then I hand it back to her. And this went on, and I said, God, you know what,
Mhm.
this is making me crazy. And so at the time I was doing regular private sessions with Jeremy Taylor, and he finally said to me, if this were my dream, Billy, there's something about not being able to accept my innate gifts.
Mhm.
The universe is showing in the dream, it's showing me that these gifts are given to me, and learning to accept them. And I feel the same kind of thing here when um, the mystery woman hands the gift to somebody next to me,
Mhm.
and I even feel relieved.
Mhm.
So it's the same kind of feeling if it were me.
Yeah, I mean, the task I didn't bother me at all. The work doesn't
Mhm.
bother me, but the receiving of any attention or accepting a gift, that bothers me sometimes. So
So
Yeah.
in my experience of the dreamer, borrowing this dream, so is this a waking life experience that I feel that if someone does give me attention, I don't feel okay about simply absorbing that attention and enjoying it? Is that awakening?
I'm better about it than I used to be as a young woman. I'm better about it, but I'm fine with not getting the attention. I'm fine.
Mhm.
So
So
yeah.
I have a projection then about this. I in my experience, in my dreams, and in this dream in particular, I'm so aware of the fact that I do have gifts. I'm able to engage others at a deep level, and I enjoy that. And part of my own art is to play with words and to tell stories or to hear stories. So in a sense, that's part of my journey of art and creativity and intimate connection. Okay. And I'm, as I experience my friend Brenda and see through the magic of YouTube the art behind. And so it's like I have a contradiction here, a contradiction that I offer gifts to the world and I create gifts. And also and there's a part of me that wants attention. And then there's another part that says, not so much, and so I deflect.
Mm.
And so for me in my dream, this is a call for me to integrate the fact at my age, and I don't know how old the dreamer is, but I don't think we're that far apart.
Right.
I-
Oh,
and
the
I,
secret. 71. Just turned 71.
well, I'm so much younger than you.
Oh, isn't that a relief?
I'm 73.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my goodness.
Oh, say more. No. Okay. Okay. And at my age, as I'm in hopefully a long dying process. I don't know, maybe it's today or tomorrow. However, I want to integrate, or my soul, my real self is wanting to integrate the gifts that I have offered and am offering and will offer, and also for me to healthfully and happily receive the recognition about these gifts, so that there is a oneness about who I am in this world and who I am with others and who we are with each other in this world.
I didn't expect the dream to go this direction. I really didn't expect it to go that direction, but now that I'm thinking about it, the golden thing comes almost like an award. Comes like like it's like getting an Oscar, but instead of putting it in your house, you put it outside in the garden.
Well,
No.
yeah, in my dream, I am receiving an award. The heck with Oscars.
Right.
This is more vital
Uh,
because this somehow is reflecting. And we go to Sun City or to Tucson,
yeah.
to have this enhanced. I'm not going to project yet on Tucson yet. However, that is just a quickie on that. Yeah, I love that. This is my reward. And if everything in the dream is a representation in part of who I am, I'm giving myself an award.
Yeah.
Something even more vital and more beautiful than what the waking world calls the Oscar. I have created my own reward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And it comes before the work is done, which
Means I'm not dead yet. Or or it's a hint of things to come after I die.
Oh, I don't know. Well, in any case, it's something that's never happened to me before. So I usually have to wait, wait for things to be recognized, and so, or to be paid immediately or given something immediately is
So
awesome.
I have a question then, dreamer's choice, as we
Yeah.
do, because this means that the dreamer can answer or not and go wherever the dream or the dreamer wants to go. So
Mhm.
as I'm listening to the dreamer's response, I always have to wait for recognition. And I wonder if, again, such a projection, I'm wondering if I need to stop waiting and start tooting my own horn. And that can be healthy. Uh,
Yes.
Viviana, take it over.
Mhm.
Throw the mic.
She's
Throw them.
nodding, so she must understand what this feels like. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I just love how we're viewing this. I love everything that Royce has said about it,
Mhm.
and Billy as well, the direction that this has taken. Yes, I'm in favor of Brenda, you're part astrology minded, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
I know only enough to be dangerous.
well, I have my son, speaking of Tucson's
Yeah.
son, Tucson. So I don't know, is the dreamer from Tucson, living in Tucson's?
My
What's
son
Tucson?
lives there.
Your son. Okay.
Yeah, he's newly married. He has a business there in
Mm.
adventure guiding, and
Hmm.
so.
Well, as a son in the 10th house, that's my natal chart. I I encourage, if this were my dream, I definitely would concur with Royce and just say it is about time that I promote my work, that I bask in the light, in this the light of the stage, in and I don't wait any longer. I am ready, and now or never. Now's the time.
Mm.
And then the dream
That's
is
true.
so visually and
Yeah.
in every way reflecting this, that it's and if it were my gift, I I would make a special place for it in my garden and dedicate it to Tucson. I would go to Tucson. I would something there is there there something about Tucson that's very important,
Mm.
and placing it in my garden. This is my place of where things grow. So there's something about Tucson that needs nurturing, that needs creativity, that I need to follow and see where it will lead.
I had wondered about that. I suspected it had something to do with family, since my son lives there. Something that needs to be cultivated and made beautiful, and I don't know.
Another thing that comes to mind is the fact that the fir branches, I can't find the roots. So it's interesting how I can't find the roots. The branches appear to be alive on both ends, but there
Mhm.
are no roots. This suggests to me I lay them out and take a look. And my first impulse is to cut them apart, place each in water to grow roots, and then plant. So it's almost like when faced with a dilemma or unexpected, I am able to creatively think of a solution, and roots, a place where I don't have ancestors, I don't have family, but I will, if I add water and my creativity to the situation, I will create roots and family.
Mm.
Oh, well, I like that. That that touches me. Yeah.
I would like to hear more about what touches me.
I don't know. I'm very sad about, God, I hope I don't cry. Um,
Yeah, this dream speaks deeply to my soul.
um, family is a difficult thing,
Mm,
Mm.
with losing my family of origin, and then I've had difficulty, like with my daughter, especially, who
mhm,
I've really tried with, but it's just
mhm.
in I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. I've done as much as I can, and so I have to be patient and wait and see what happens. A lot of it with her, she needs to get help for herself and for her to
Mhm,
balance her emotions.
mhm.
She needs help, and
So,
and so feeling a lot like I don't have um, I'm not rooted. I'm not rooted in anything yet, like
mm,
I should be, or should. There's no shoulds, except that I
mhm.
know I would enjoy that. So,
There's real beauty in hearing the dreamer share the pain and how beautifully the dream is also lifting this up. And we did not know, I did not know the dream was going to go here. And we don't know where the dream wants to go until we start listening uh,
mhm,
to our beloved dream that loves us. And it's always dreamer's choice to share what is being shared, and not to go any different or any further than that. So it's so beautiful to hear the
mhm,
vulnerability
Mm.
and the gifts together, and the risk, and again, metaphorically and literally, how the dream loves us and is yearning for growth, yearning for us to be whole.
mhm,
That's
Sorry,
what.
Billy.
No, I was just no. I was waiting for you to be done. That sounded great. There's a couple of things that pop out in my version of the dream. Is that the fir branches? For those who didn't see the image, it's shaped almost like a partial wreath. But the other thing I think about is that this is a fir tree, so it's an evergreen. It'll always it's like it keeps its needles all all year round. It's one of these kind of eternal things. I love that it's that the contrasts of the gifts that I receive, one is organic, alive, growing. The other is the gold, um, which is a
Mm,
solid piece of gold. And for the people that can't see it, looks like a gold bar, with the cactus image and sun image, and I describe it as relief, which is another thing. I feel relieved in the
mhm,
dream, and so now here's a relief image.
mhm,
But gold is so important anytime it shows up in a dream. It's Dreams do not take gold lightly at all. It's a reminder of our inner preciousness, our inner resilience. Gold never tarnishes or rusts, and it retains its value regardless of what type of shape it's in. Gold shows up in the fairy tales very often for that reason. So it's that part of us that is so precious. We come into the world with it, and one of the hardest things for us to do is to own our gold, to recognize our gold. There's a great story called Iron John that it shows.
Robert Bly.
Well, Robert Bly wrote the book
Yeah,
Iron
right.
John, but the actual fairy tale is called Iron Hans. And
Mm,
and he
thank you.
he it's I won't go too deep into it, but Iron John tells the boy not to bother the spring. Do whatever you do, don't touch the spring. I'm going to go off for a while. Guard it. Make sure nothing spoils the spring. So the boy accidentally burns his finger. So he drops his finger into the pool to cool it down, pulls his finger out, and it's turned to solid gold. And so he goes, oh no, Iron John's going to figure out that I touched the spring when he comes back. So he has to hide his hand behind his back. And the Iron John comes back and goes, okay, now show me your hands. Show me your hands. And so he finally has to show it to him. And it proceeds through three. There's always three in the stories. So there's three more things that happen. And the last one is he looks at his reflection in the spring, and his hair falls forward. And when it touches the water in the spring, his entire head turns to shimmering gold. And then he has to hide that. So he goes so Iron John says, take your hat off, let me see it. And so he very reluctantly takes his hat off and shows his gold. So the metaphor of the story is that we all have something precious to share. We all have something precious to share, but one of the hardest things is to show and let our gold shine in the world, because we don't want to stand out. We don't want to be special. We don't want to be unique. We don't want people calling, I'm talented. No, I don't want to be talented. I'd rather not. So there's this, we're all inhibited with that. And there's that Marianne Williamson quote, which I will figure out later, but it's like, well, who are we not to be special? Who are we not to be? This is what we're blessed with. So in my version of the dream, this is what it's hinting at. And the woman who's next to me that I don't really, and she ends up getting the gift. Often, and I even say in the as the dreamer, I say, well, and she doesn't even have a clear face. That's one of those places in dreams that I see so often. It's like the part of me that I'm moving into, my future self, the future part of myself that I have yet to define, that I have yet to really move into. So the mystery woman shows up, she gets the gift, and I'm like, oh, good, thank goodness. I don't think I really wanted it anyway, So there is and truthfully, there is quite somewhat of a burden, when we have a gift that in order to, it's our calling, it's what we need to share with the world. And once we recognize it, and once we acknowledge it, we can't turn back. We have to say, oh, right, I have that gold that I haven't dealt with lately. I got to show it to the world.
Right.
And am I ready?
Right. Well, I do feel that my work is unfinished, and my gifts unexplored somewhat. So, in this stage of my life, there's not a lot of time to do that, and I want to do that.
So I keep going back, and this is connected to what Belly's saying, and also what the dreamer's saying. I know that I have more to live for. Okay. And I think what the dream is saying, I need to, part of what my calling now is to own publicly, to integrate publicly my inner and outer self. And again, at my age, this is where integration does begin to hopefully flourish and show itself, myself, that I don't worry as much, perhaps not at all, about how the world will view me, as much as this is how I experience the world, and I'm integrated, and I'm showing off this little light of mine is indeed for me, and not to put this under a basket. No, how the little chorus goes.
Yeah.
And in my dream, this is a primary nudge from the dream, is to admit this to myself and to bring all aspects into one as I move towards this aspect this phase of my life. And I do know I have more to give. I will give more as I am integrated and show my candle to the world, show the gold to the world, show the green to the world. And I know those words very well. It's easy for me to say this. It is hard for me to embrace this and to do this now. And
Yeah.
we know in dream work, if we dream it, we are ready. And the dream is saying, I am ready to cast off these old images of false humility, because the world does need me and I need to be this way. And this is the way I hopefully will die, by having a fully integrated self. And go. Yeah.
I just, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted, I heard the dreamer say, I feel like I'm running out of time. If I were feeling that way, the dream actually is telling me how to work on this, to break things down into manageable pieces and handle them one step at a time in order to achieve my success, perhaps. And the dream for me is encouraging me to trust my intuition, to persevere in all my efforts, and to take practical little steps, baby steps, in order to achieve my goals.
Wow.
That's what I feel that the dream is telling me.
That's really good. I had a
I
big
should trust my instinct to cut them apart and get them to grow. Yeah.
and get rooted. We go
And get
back to that
rooted.
rooted and grounded. And on my copy it says the branches appeared to be alive on both ends in 4 places, but no roots. And we know that from the Jungian quaternity, 4 is the symbol for wholeness. So this means that I can use all my function, thinking, feeling, intuition, sensation. It can all come into play as I accept and display. See, what I like is that I'm putting the ornament in my garden, which Viviana started with. So it's much more publicly displayed. It's not like I'm putting it in my bathroom, or in my closet. I'm putting it out so in a place where others can see it. Still my private area, but it's more visible. So that to me is a hint too. Is like what Viviana's saying, take those steps, little steps forward. I know my friend Brenda Ferrimani she's pretty visible in a lot of circles. However, this is something Jeremy used to tell me all the time, there's more. And I used to say, but I work so hard, and I do these workshops, and I teach, and I do these retreats, and I just seem like I'm doing things there all the time. Their dreams are saying there's more. So it's like it's like a feeling of like, can I take this? As I said before, sometimes it's burdensome that we have these gifts that we're called to share with the world. However, that I wouldn't be, as Roy said, I would not have had the dream unless I'm ready for the information in the dream.
So if I connect all the dots by accepting my gift and being more public with it, that directly affects the planting of the fir trees that will exist, like creating my own family, my own community, that kind of thing. Right. So
Is that a fir tree that I see behind you right now, Brenda? A mini fir tree.
no, it's ivy. Just
it's in the shape of a little
around on itself.
It's in the shape of like a little
Probably
Christmas
a
tree.
mile long,
it does look like a little tree, though. It's cute.
Yeah, I saw that and I was wondering as well. So I need to look again at how the dream is multi-purposed. As an artist, as a giver of beauty to the world, and I believe giving beauty to the world, helping to create beauty, also helps to heal microscopically and macro for the world to experience. So this dream is calling me to offer in a larger sense to the world without, hiding my light under the bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. And also I'm so touched that in family systems, that the dream is also speaking very personally about some of my anguish and sorrow and love and pain and willing sacrifice that I'm giving not only to the beautiful wounded world, also to my family, my roots, my daughter, my sons, my sense of being in the world. I'm parenting, and I am not called to be perfect. I am called to simply own my vulnerability, to own my beauty, to own what I am doing, and I think the dream is offering me grace. I have not given perfectly. I've fumbled, stumbled, mumbled, tumbled, and grumbled my way through, my parenting and my, work with people. And, it's like the dream is not judging. The dream is inviting me to own that I am giving, and that I am imperfect, and I'm vulnerable, and I'm authentic. And I need to love myself, because the dream is showing how much I am giving and how much I am sacrificing. And I'm not going to let this I'm not going to put it under my bushel. I'm going to own. And, the world doesn't have to see it. Doesn't have to agree with me. My family doesn't have to agree with me. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one right there.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, because they don't have to. Yeah, because that's why, I really have a personal relationship to the card, the Hermit, number 9, because that's what the Hermit's all about. It's like having our own spiritual truth, having our own knowing that I'm protecting from the elements around. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't have to fit into any box for anybody else. It's my truth. It's my spiritual life. So it doesn't have to look or feel like anybody else's version of it. And so that's why he's the Hermit, because he decides to be alone in his aloneness. So, but understanding that he's always carrying that light, that light within.
Wow, that sculpture looks like a lantern.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say that.
It glows.
The gold light is like the light of the Hermit.
That's cool.
Oh, how fun. For me, who doesn't believe in
Tarot.
in tarot, it's like, okay, here we go. Thank you for letting me sneak that in.
It's so wild. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who don't understand or follow tarot, but archetypally, those images are there within the collective unconscious.
Because this is art, this is metaphor, this is digging deep into the symbols of stuff that emerges. So
right, and that's connected to the desert, right? I mean, all the spiritual leaders in the past have gone into the desert.
The desert mothers, the desert fathers.
They go into the desert, for all alone for a length of time, and then they come out.
Right.
So would somebody please riff on that these pine branches look like a menorah? And
yes.
And would somebody riff on the linguistic roots of the name Tucson, and also yeah, and the cactus. I mean, what's that about? And does that look like a menorah to anybody too, or a
Well, there we go
partial one?
again with light
Oh, the cactus.
and
That definitely, it does. Cactus can look like a menorah.
yeah, it
And
looks
the
like
fir tree looks like a menorah. I
yeah,
mean, the fir branches.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
the
mean,
way it's yeah.
how could I not see that, people?
That's another
I didn't
example.
make that connection, but yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, I pretend to be a theologian, and I cannot remember much about the origination of the menorah. I know it's, the 12 tribes, right? Something like that.
Mine
And
has 12, but a menorah has only 6.
oh, okay, so
And there's the center
my
thing that
formerly
makes
Jehovah
7.
Witness friend who
Yeah.
knows these symbols better than I,
Right.
please please riff on this, because I cannot not see a menorah, or something like that.
Right.
And for the thousands of Jewish listeners, please, send in your comments and projections, and be nice, because I have failed my own heritage by trying to figure this out. But I know there's information out there that
Oh,
is
it was the miracle that they had
right,
oil for one night, right? But
right,
then it lasted a whole
lasted.
week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that.
again, it's the symbolism of burning my light for the world, you know? Oh gosh, I
Mm.
tingled when I said
Gonna
that.
let it
Mm.
shine.
Woo. So
Hide it under a bushel. No,
oh,
I'm
there's the
gonna let
hermit.
it
There he is.
shine.
Yes.
There's the hermit.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
That light from within.
yeah.
Let it shine.
Beautiful. I know it has a spiritual meaning. These 2 images, they have definite spiritual meaning.
So so hearing that hooks me. When I look at all things as being spiritual, and then I say, well, I know this is a spiritual meaning.
Uh,
How would this not be spiritual?
yeah,
In my sense of values and my sense of how I view the world, all of this is one um, kind of expression. Everything is spiritual, and it's only in our linear world that we divide things up.
right. I guess I just mean a representation, like a symbol
Yeah.
that people would use with special significance.
So
That
as a dreamer, how do I do that? What does that look like for me to look at this with special significance?
oh wow.
Mm.
The meaning goes beyond me. It goes into all the dimensions, and it brings together ancestors and brings together the
Mm,
future. It's a
mhm.
Yeah.
This
it's
is
not-
this is goosebumpy.
it is.
Goosebumps. I
Mhm,
know. I got tingles all over when I was talking about the light of the menorah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
mhm,
So there's some parts of us, see, I keep thinking about the fir branches too being a representation of something eternal. And the same with the gold. Gold, that's why civilizations were taken down because they wanted others conquered them in order to get the gold. So it's been in the collective for millennia. And it's something that we all strive for. Gold is eternal. That's why it's such a big symbol and metaphor in the stories, because it's the
mhm,
part of us that we come into the world with that's precious, that never
mhm,
deteriorates, always is going to be shiny and bright and beautiful. And I think of the same thing with the fur, sort of like the metaphor had to double itself in a different way and say, and by the way, it happens in nature too. Here's another example. So there's something eternal. So if it were my dream, there's some piece of me that is being reminded of that I carry something within that is the self, the capital S self,
Mhm.
the soul, the spirit.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Definitely, if it were
Maybe
my
it has to do with the work we all do and how we try to pull it all together and bring opposite sides together and, you know,
Yeah.
to feel real connection, to make everything as one, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm just aware of what I just heard.
Mhm.
It's my calling to bring opposite sides together.
Mhm.
And I cannot do that without pain. I cannot do that without conflict inside. I cannot do that without owning that there are opposites in the world and in me. And the dream is honoring this in me. And when I look at where I uh, have experienced imperfection and anguish and sorrow, I also know that my self is being called to own the paradox. And this is all a gift, including the pain as well as the joy.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So now that we've worked with the dream for a while, is there any title that comes to mind?
No, I don't know. You guys help me.
Mhm.
I don't know, the fur menorah and the golden cactus. I don't know, something like that. Sounds
for
like a
me
rock band, doesn't it?
for me it's just follow the golden light.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
Mhm. Oh,
What a relief. That's what I also say.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I say I'm relieved, and it's got a relief
Mhm.
on the,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the relief sculpture
yeah,
Mhm.
what a
of a
relief.
cactus and sun.
Mhm.
It it symbolizes nature, my love of nature, and my connection to the environment as well.
mhm.
The sun, the fur, the cactus,
I'd
my
rather be
need.
in my garden than any place. I love being in the garden.
Precious.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I know that to have a garden inside you is a very precious thing.
I have a garden inside me, and this is very precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to show others how to do that too, to
Mm.
have a place like that inside,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's what helps us endure this life.
Mhm.
So
There's that Antonio Machado poem, What Have You Done with the Garden Entrusted with You? And I mean, it's a beautiful poem. I could probably find it pretty quickly, but it's a short one. But it's about that. It's about the how do I take care of and nurture and feed and water that part of me that's the inner garden. I'd have to look it up, but I will.
Mhm.
I needed this soul massage, you guys. You helped me
Oh,
a lot.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it is that touches me. A soul massage, a deep tissue soul massage,
Mm.
and uh, I- this is I want to emphasize to all the listeners how amazing dreams are, and we we hold this with a sense of sacredness,
Mm-hmm.
and the projective process can do this. We don't have to have these fancy dancy degrees out there. This is who we are. The dream is speaking to our authentic self, and my soul gets massaged. I feel nourished.
Mm,
And I really need this right now. I
I
need
do.
this.
I do. Thank you.
Mhm.
I found the poem, so I'm going to read it real quick here. This is Antonio Machado. And this book is called Times Alone. The wind one brilliant day called to my soul with the aroma of jasmine. In return for this jasmine odor, I'd like all the odor of your roses. I have no roses. I have no flowers left now in my garden. All are dead. Then I'll take the waters of the fountains and the yellow leaves and the dried up petals. The wind left. I wept. I said to my soul, what have you done with the garden entrusted to you? So we all have to remember to feed that part of ourselves inside.
Mhm.
If it were my dream, this is a reminder of that. Because I even say to the woman, if this were my gift, I'd put it in the garden.
Right. Right. Well, the gifts I have received, I am grateful for.
Mhm.
And everything I've done thus far in my art career has been such a blessing. And yeah, all those things are part of my garden,
Yeah.
and all of the relationships I've built through the years. But sometimes you can feel a little isolated.
Mm.
So,
I do feel isolated. And that's why the projective process at the projective process's best is always experienced in community.
mhm.
And so here we four are
No, I
riffing
believe
on a
it just like that.
that's right. Yeah. And so I end up feeling tender, sad, joyous,
Mhm,
deeply fed, deeply nourished,
mhm,
deeply massaged.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
We are. The
You're
dreamer.
all awesome. I give you a golden gift, each one.
I'll take it. I'll
And
Well,
display it in my garden.
we each give one to you, dear Brenda.
Mhm. We do. We receive
Oh,
and we give. And truly in the projective process, I have been working on myself during this time as I've heard the dreamer share the dreamer's dream. This is about me. And so it's like, yeah, how's this dream calling me? And this dream is calling me to show my light.
mhm.
Mm. Wow. So anything else you want to say about your dream, Brenda? Or is it...
No, I feel very grateful, and I'm just going to sit with all of this, all of these luscious, delicious feelings,
Yeah.
and the
Mm.
sadness too. Even that's delicious. I mean,
Mhm.
I probably need to cry. I haven't cried in a long time, so
Mm.
thank you for that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, it's always good to move those feelings through to and,
yeah,
let it flow.
yeah, yeah. It's it's very tender,
Mhm.
very tender. Yeah.
Mhm.
Why don't you tell all the listeners where they can find your work online? Because you have some beautiful, beautiful paintings and wonderful stories too.
Oh, well, I have a website called Brenda Ferrimani Dream Art. It's difficult to spell my name, probably, but
Is it a .com?
it's a .com. And
Spell it out for
I'm
everyone.
okay. My last name is F as in Frank, E, 2 R's, I, M as in Mary, A, N, I. And yeah, just Google me and I'm there. I'm a lot of places online, and I've just finished a painting and I've written about it, and it's on my dream art page on Facebook, and it's also on Instagram. So something for you, for everyone to look at and see if you relate to that. So
So I was just going to say one quick thing about that, because Brenda actually brought her original painting to the dream retreat that I hosted at the beginning of May,
yeah.
2023, we actually shared the dream that the painting was inspired by, and we were projecting all the time on the painting as we're talking to her about the dream. It was really quite a great experience to have the visual so clearly there of the
Yeah, because we usually have to describe it in detail. The dreamers are asking you questions and then they have an image and you
Yeah.
have an image, and so
There, we all get messy in our projective paintings, don't we?
right.
So I just wonder, since you have this great last name, Ferriani, and how to spell it, and I just wonder if we Googled Brenda's dream art, I wonder if that would eventually lead us to you. I
Just
assume that,
Brenda's dream art, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure that would. So I'm just saying that for the listeners to be able to go and step into the world of Brenda's dreams.
I just did it, and
Yes.
she's the first to come up.
Yay!
Just by putting Brenda's
I
dream.
put Brenda's dream art, and you came right up.
Awesome. Well,
Maybe that in my dream, I would buy that. I would buy that .com, brendasdreamart.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. That would be good. Yeah, you got to buy up those domain names.
right.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think there are a lot of people who would buy Brenda Ferrimani dream art.
Yeah, but Brenda's
Oh,
dream,
whoa!
Brenda's dream art.
I mean, I don't have to,
Stop!
no, I didn't
Stop!
mean that way. I meant the .com. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so rare, the name.
Oh,
So I don't have to fight over it. It's a rare.
because we have so many thousands of listeners, some of them might want to hurry and go and buy that domain. So you do it right away.
Just
That's
brendasdreamart.com.
the way
that's an
I do it.
order.
I have vivianaguzman.com, but I also have flutequeen.com in case Vivian, you don't remember my first name or my last name, you can still think of Flute Queen. So maybe that's what Royce is suggesting. Dream art, Brenda's dream art would just make it easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost all that much to get the domain names.
Yeah,
Which
10
website
bucks a year.
is getting more attention, Viviana?
Oh, you
Which
know, I haven't looked
website?
at that. I don't know.
Oh, well, I imagine it is easier to contact
So
you.
if I want to find a way to reach more people because of my gifts, and the dream is saying in my projection, Royce, get out there and buy that website because it's probably less than 20 bucks a year.
Yeah, I pay like 15 bucks or something
Yeah.
for most of my domain names.
For the name.
Yeah. It's just like, anyway, that we've educated a lot of people on
That is
social
something
media
to think about.
how to get your name out there.
Right.
BrendaDreamArt.com.
I didn't know you could do that, but that will save a lot of grief and anxiety trying to find Brenda Ferrimani, misspelling it.
And I don't use it often, but I have BillyOrtiz.com too, because you know, that's another thing. If you type my name in, you're going to go right to my website, even though you didn't type the domain name in. There is another Billy Ortiz out there that has my email, and so she sometimes gets my email. BillyOrtiz@gmail.com, and I'm Billy C. Ortiz at Gmail. So we have to have a communication back and forth every now and then. She's like, I got another email for you. So yeah.
Oh, so speaking of which, what is your website, Billy Ortiz?
It's wakeuptoyourdreams.com. And there you will find a lot of different information about, you know, first of all, the DreamWork Toolkit, which we deal with a lot here. And also I host dream groups throughout the month, twice a month in the evening and twice a month and in the afternoon. I also like to mentor and help people learn how to become projective dreamworkers. So there'll be another round of that starting up soon. So just keep in touch with the wakeuptoyourdreams.com. And that's it. Yes, and there will be another in-person retreat October 6th through the 8th here in Boulder, Colorado. So check it out.
Mm. And tell us about roycefitz.com, Dr.
Or
Fitz.
yeah, and I own the drfitz.com as well too.
Mhm.
So yes. So what we experienced today, I think, is a beautiful example of, if you go to my website at roycefitz.com and you'll see spiritual counseling and dream work. What we did today is exactly that. And I have deep passion for this and invite people to go to my website, because I offer a free 30-minute session just to kind of explore and get to know me as I would get to know you, and to do the deep processing of helping oneself to own one's own light and to heal and to offer light to the world and not hide it under a bushel. No, this little light of mine. And so going deep existentially, theologically, meandering and wandering, because I offer 90-minute sessions. That's my primary gift to people who want to become clients, because I think that length of time is, in my dream, very ideal to wander and wonder in order to discover our path in this desert, to heal ourselves and also the world.
Yeah.
You're
And
very good at
geography.
that. You all are. You're very good at it. Very compassionate and
Thank
very easy opening.
Well, those are wonderful projections.
you. We're receiving it. We're receiving it. Thank you.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you. I also have a book coming out later this summer, Geography of the Soul, and I'll say more about that another time. But
Well, it's
Beautiful.
been awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Brenda, for joining us today, for calling in your dream. I am Viviana Guzman. Can be reached at Viviana, viviana.org/magic. Or just Viviana.org is if you want to see me as a musician. You, the listener, if you have a dream that you want to call in, our dreamer hotline is 720-573-9195. You can also send us a message via Facebook or Instagram. Again, the caller hotline is 720-573-9195. Find us all over the world on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. Look for Royce's TikTok channel. Operators are standing by. It's our pleasure to share the world and magic of dreams, language of stories, symbols, metaphors, and archetype. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Brenda, once again. Until next time, happy dreaming.